Hello, everybody. We are here with a timeless reading. Before we get started, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. All right, I'm seeing something that is beginning to stabilize. We're starting with the Page of Swords. Okay. This feels like you have been sort of in a research state or gathering of information, like really looking for the truth at the bottom of it all. I'm seeing a lot of blue here. Blue is associated with the throat. Yeah, I'm seeing so much blue here. Blue is associated with the throat chakra. You could have been feeling like there was sort of a mission that you had been on to get to the bottom of something, and I'm seeing that answer, that truth, that understanding be recovered here at this point. But there can be some fears that are connected with this, or even a realization of, oh, I hadn't been doing that because fear had been holding me back, and maybe I hadn't been willing to recognize that because I felt like that was a lot mentally for me to even digest at a point. But here, whatever it was that you had been looking for, this can be like an answer, information, clarity, anything that has to do with a resonance of truth. I'm seeing that has been recovered, remembered, brought to the forefront, realized. But yeah, it could have told you maybe something about yourself that can now be integrated. I do get the feeling of maybe like why you had been holding yourself back from something or with something. Maybe you've gotten to the point where you've realized that you had been in something for reasons that maybe you don't want to be motivated by anymore. This can be like, I was doing this for the money, but I didn't feel happy doing it anymore. Or I was staying in this situation because it was doing something for me financially, but I felt really empty on the inside. Yeah, I definitely get the feeling of this bringing up maybe something that before you were like, I really don't think that I can face up to that. But I'm seeing it really be a different story now. I'm not seeing it be the same thing. But maybe you hadn't been ready to, even though you knew this, because this isn't anything new that you're realizing or finding out, but maybe something that feels new because your willingness to recognize this at this point. Because starting off with the Page of Swords is like, you know what, at this point, I don't even care what the answer is going to be. I just want the truth. I just want to have that moment of epiphany, of clarity, of recognition. And I'm seeing this has now happened. So you're in this spot where you're like, okay, now I have this truth, and I had to get into a place where I left all my preferences behind to really see this. That's a very important aspect of this. Getting to the truth works only when you can sidestep your preferences and be like, I want the truth above all, above even my preferences. Okay? And so now it has come to light that something has cleared and emptied and finished for you, meaning there could have been a well that you had been getting water from. Water meaning emotions, okay? It was doing something for you emotionally. But now with the Eight of Cups showing up, you see how this is like the well running dry? It's like these cups had been full before, and so there had been emotional, astral energy that you had been pulling from this that had been doing something for you, okay? It had been doing something for you within the heart space where you're like, wow, this was fulfilling to me. It really like lit me up in the heart space and I felt very connected with it. But now having all of these be empty, it's the sign from the universe and from spirit and from yourself that there's nothing to pull from this anymore. And that means that the karmic contract is over, the energetic contract is over, and you're meant to be walking away from it. But before, you could have maybe not realized this, but then you get to the point where you're like, oh, if there's nothing here for me anymore, that means I'm meant to be doing something else. So why would I even stay here? It's like trying to, again, pull water out of a well that's gone dry and it's not going to fill up anymore. And it just took this seeking of the truth to recognize, oh, that means that I'm supposed to keep going. But because of our attachments to habits, and I've been doing this for so long and all of that, and guilting ourselves into saying or not saying, and what are other people going to think, and then what am I going to do about this, and all the fears that come into it, that could have been all these things that were holding you back. But now you get to this point where you're like, oh, it's not fulfilling to me anymore, which is the whole reason that I entered into this in the first place, or I thought that I would be fulfilled doing this. And now I've realized the truth about this, that it doesn't have anything for me any longer. And so that is my cue. That's the sign of, oh, I'm ready to move on to something else now. But before, maybe you had been misinterpreting the signals and the signs. But this part of you that's like, no, I need the truth. Again, putting my preferences aside and being like, I want the truth above all. Now you have come to this full acceptance in the realization of the truth of the matter here within this situation. Recognizing that because the well has run dry, it's not for you any longer. It's not meant for you to be participating in any longer, because there's nothing for you to get there. And I'm just seeing this thing click for you. That, oh, there's something else that I'm meant to be transitioning to now. And that was my cue. That was my sign. My joy isn't connected with this thing anymore. I don't feel joy when I'm doing it anymore. I don't feel that spark. I don't feel lit up. I actually feel kind of the opposite of that. That's the cue to keep moving. But yeah, maybe you hadn't been ready to see it before, or had been unwilling to see it before because of the implications of what that meant for you. But now I'm really seeing you get into a spot where you're like, I'm choosing to resonate with a vibration above the frequency of fear. And that's why this is so important. Also, too, I'm seeing this be a huge realization for you. So also don't stress yourself out with, I got to do this now, I got to do that, I got to do that thing over here. If you're not ready for it, give yourself time to ease into it, because I'm seeing it definitely was like a long time coming, getting you to this spot in the first place. And there could have been many, many reasons why you were resistant to even being here. So now that you are here, just allow yourself to be here. Just in this moment, allow yourself to be here. In this moment of, okay, what I had been doing before, that thing is no longer where I'm meant to be. Me staying in here is fighting the flow of things, fighting even my dharmic path at this point. And now I am reacclimating, I am realigning to my highest purpose. Because the compass, that blueprint for your purpose, is like what pulls you and what draws you and what calls you, versus what do you have resistance to? What do you have to sort of force yourself to participate in, versus what can I participate in happily? And that's going to tell you what your place is. Also, too, I'm seeing your guides be like, you don't need to do anything wild right now. Right now is just, like, it feels like this has been freshly understood at this point. So I'm seeing the main aspect of this, and all that needs to be done for you right now is to just, like, settle into this truth and to really, like, let it resonate within you, to recognize that. I'm hearing now that you want the truth, you got it. Also know, too, that just because you recognize that something is not resonating with you any longer and it's not fulfilling to you any longer, and that you are going to transition out of it, you are going to phase out of it, it is totally normal to go through the process of mourning that thing. You can know something is no longer right for you, it's no longer resonating, it's no longer aligned. And you can still feel sadness and mourning and loss and grieving even though you know it's not aligned with you any longer. So also like allow yourself to have that whole process that you need to emotionally. Because now you're in a spot where intellectually you have recognized, like on a soul level, this has been something that you've recognized, but you're still going to go through those human emotions, right? Like you're in this human vessel right now. You're going to go through all the human emotions that are tagged to this. All the things that maybe the pain of recognizing this was what had been holding you back from even getting to this spot in the first place. So just allow yourself to be in that and to fully be present to and aware of and mindful of your emotions. That is how you care for your emotions, to allow yourself to feel everything that's associated with it. So now that this truth has been accepted, allow all the motions of emotions to run through, rather than being like, I have to close myself off to this because I know it's no longer for me anymore, and blocking yourself from having those feelings. You want to let it all move through you and be okay with how you're feeling, to be in a space of acceptance. That is really going to be the key to allowing yourself to fully step out of this cycle and into transition into the next cycle for you, okay? And even if there can be things that pop up that you're like, I don't like that I'm feeling like this, or it's irrational that I'm feeling like this. Throw all of that off the table. Just like allow yourself to be, allow yourself to move through this experience that you're moving through. Journal about it, talk to yourself about it, talk with your guides about it, pray about it, meditate about it, whatever it is that you need to do to allow this to fully process through. It's like, it's like something needing to go through a filtration process, and that's what you're allowing to happen here. So you can be clear when you step into the next cycle and not have the residue that you're going to have to address later on down the cycle when it's going to be more inconvenient. Right now is the time to do this. It's not the end of the world if you end up bypassing and don't do it, but you're just going to have to do it later. But the advice to make it easiest on you is to just allow yourself to process through this now, before you fully transitioned into the next thing, and to just follow these steps, because it's going to allow you to fully be present and acclimate much more easily to this next cycle that you're entering into, okay? Just a 3-card spread. All right, we're actually, just be patient with yourself through this process, okay? Patient, loving, forgiving, compassionate, holding space, accepting. Because this is also you making peace with the fact that right now you are in a human vessel that has human emotions, and you are going to go through that process of experiencing it. And if you push it down, it's going to come up in another way. It reminds me of like a balloon that's like half filled with air, and if you try to like stomp it out in one place, you know it's going to pop up in another place. It's kind of like that. So that's why you just want to sort of like let this happen, okay? Emotionally for you. Move through this. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.